Welcome back to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
So, anyone who follows music, really, or celebrity news has probably seen the headlines swirling around Dolly Parton lately.
Oh, definitely. It's been kind of confusing, right? A lot of concern.
Exactly. A flurry of questions. What's going on with Dolly? Concerts postponed, then a very public prayer request. It just seemed to ramp up really quickly.
Yeah, it was like whiplash. Dolly's always seemed so unstoppable, so ageless in a way.
Right, at 79.
So when she announces she's stepping back, even temporarily, for health reasons, well, people notice. Fans went from sort of mild concern to pretty significant worry fast.
Totally. So that's what this deep dive is about. We want to unpack what actually happened chronologically. We need to separate the official stuff, Dolly's own words, from the speculation and maybe the slightly more alarming messages that came later.
Right. Clear the air based on the facts we have up to, October 8th, 2025.
Exactly. So, okay, let's get into it. Where does the timeline really start for this recent wave of news?
Well, the main event, the one that sort of set everything in motion, came directly from Dolly herself.
Okay.
That was on September 28th, 2025.
Yeah.
That's when she formally announced she had to postpone her Las Vegas shows.
The big residency, right, at Caesar's Palace?
Yeah, the Coliseum.
Yeah.
Highly anticipated. And she didn't just cancel, she was upfront, saying she needed to deal with some, quote, health challenges and needed a few procedures.
Okay, health challenges, procedures. A little vague, but okay.
Exactly. But then, classic Dolly, she immediately tried to kind of soften the blow with humor.
Ah, yes, I remember this quote. It was pretty great.
Yeah, she said it must be time for her 100,000-mile checkup.
Huh, right.
And then she added that little wink, although it's not the usual trip to see my plastic surgeon.
So acknowledging the procedures talk, but making light of it, managing the message.
Totally. She's acknowledging something's up health-wise, but trying to keep from sounding too dire, But I think, honestly, the most crucial part of that initial announcement, especially for fans who were starting to worry,
Was the retirement thing.
yes, she was absolutely clear on
Yeah.
that. Explicitly said, don't worry about me quitting the business because God hasn't said anything about stopping yet.
Okay, so procedures, yes. Health challenges, yes. Retiring, absolutely not.
That was the core message from her camp. And the logistics backed up the idea of taking recovery seriously.
You mean the rescheduling?
Yeah. Those 6 shows planned for December 2025. They got pushed way back, all the way to September 2026.
Wow, 9 months. That's quite a long postponement.
It is. And you could look at that 2 ways, I suppose. Is it a sign they're really worried, or is it just being super cautious?
I lean towards cautious and honestly fan-focused. Think about it. A Vegas show like that, it's a massive undertaking, physically demanding.
Huge production values, yeah.
So at 79, needing procedures, she's probably thinking, if I'm going to do this, I need to be 100%. That 9-month window gives her time not just to heal, but to really get back into peak performance shape.
That makes sense. Give yourself plenty of runway. Okay. Yeah. But those procedures weren't the only health thing going on around that time, were they?
No, and that's key context for understanding maybe why people got so worried later. We have to rewind just a bit further into September.
Right. Before the Vegas announcement.
Yeah, early September 2025. She actually had to cancel an appearance back home, essentially, at Dollywood in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
Which is a big deal for her, right? Mm-hmm. She rarely misses those Dollywood events.
Very rare. And interestingly, for that cancellation, she was actually quite specific about the reason.
Oh, what did she say?
She said it was a kidney stone, and it had apparently caused an infection.
Ah, okay. A kidney stone infection.
Yeah.
That's unpleasant, but usually manageable, right?
Generally, yeah. But her doctor apparently told her very clearly, you don't need to be traveling right this minute. Advised against it.
So let's piece this together. Early September, a specific issue, kidney stone with infection, forces cancellation of travel. Late September, a more general announcement about needing procedures and health challenges leading to the Vegas postponement.
Exactly. You see how having those 2 things happen close together could make fans think, okay, what's really going on here? Is it just the kidney stone or is it something more?
Mm-hmm. Especially when the second announcement was less specific than the first.
And she did confirm, though, that she wasn't just stopping everything. She said she'd keep working on her other projects, just, from here in Nashville while she recovered and got ready.
Right. Still working, just not performing or traveling. And we probably need to mention the the personal context here, too. It's been a tough year for her beyond just health issues.
That's a really important layer. People might forget, but this was all happening less than a year after her husband, Carl Thomas Dean, passed away back in March 2025.
After nearly 60 years together, it's a profound loss.
Absolutely. So you imagine dealing with that grief, then a kidney stone infection, then needing unspecified procedures, all while trying to manage a global brand and plan a massive Vegas residency.
The resilience required is just incredible. It really puts the health challenges into a broader perspective. She's juggling immense personal and professional pressure.
Yeah. And maybe that emotional backdrop helps explain why the next development caused such a stir, because it didn't come from Dolly's official channels.
Right. This is where things took a turn publicity-wise. We moved from Dolly's sort of controlled, slightly humorous announcement to something different.
From her sister, Frida Parton.
Exactly. On October 7th, 2025. So this is about a week, maybe a bit more, after Dolly postponed the Vegas shows.
And what did Frida say?
Well, she went public with a really heartfelt plea. She asked fans all around the world to become prayer warriors for Dolly.
Prayer warriors. Okay, that's a strong phrase.
Very strong.
Yeah.
And she said it was because Dolly hasn't been feeling her best lately.
Oh, boy. Okay, I can see how that would set off alarm bells.
Yeah. Instantly. You know, you compare Dolly saying a 100,000-mile checkup with Frida asking for prayer warriors.
Totally different vibe. One sounds like routine maintenance, the other sounds like a crisis.
Precisely. And the media, the fans, they jumped on it. The narrative immediately shifted to, oh my God, is it much worse than Dolly said? Did the procedures go wrong? Is she seriously ill?
It's understandable why Frida did it, right? Sisterly concern turning to faith.
Absolutely. Came from a place of love, no doubt.
Yeah.
But the impact, it created this huge wave of speculation and worry that Dolly's initial message seemed designed to avoid.
So Frida must have realized pretty quickly that her message had kind of backfired, publicity-wise.
Seems like it, because the very next day, October 8th, which is the date our source material is based around from again, she issued a clarification.
Trying to walk it back a bit.
Yeah, basically trying to put the genie back in the bottle. She said, I didn't mean to scare anyone.
Okay.
And she tried to sort of downgrade the seriousness, saying Dolly was just a little under the weather.
From prayer warriors to a little under the weather, that's quite a shift.
It is. But like you said, the initial alarm had already sounded. The headlines were out there. It just fueled the fire of what happened to Dolly Parton.
It really highlights that tension, doesn't it, between like a family's personal way of coping and the needs of managing a public image, especially for someone like Dolly.
Totally. Dolly's team, professional, controlled, uses humor. Frida, emotional, spiritual, transparent in a different way. And those two approaches clash publicly.
Okay, so let's synthesize this for everyone listening. Cut through the noise. If someone asks you, hey, is Dolly Parton sick? What's the straight answer based on these confirmed facts?
The straight answer is yes. She's dealing with confirmed health issues. We know she had a kidney stone and infection in early September. We know she then needed a few procedures unspecified, which required a significant recovery time.
Right, leading to that 9-month postponement of the Vegas shows.
Exactly. She's recovering. She's working on projects from Nashville, but she is definitely not retiring. That's been made very clear.
And the long delay, the September 2026 date, seems deliberate.
Yeah, it points to her wanting to be fully recovered and truly performance ready. Like she said herself, you pay good money to see me perform, and I want to be at my best for you.
It's about quality control and respecting the audience, really. Giving herself that ample time makes sense, especially after everything she's dealt with this past year.
Time to heal physically, but probably mentally and emotionally too, before tackling such a huge commitment. She needs to feel show ready, not just be physically cleared.
So the key takeaway points for you are, Dolly is 79. She postponed shows until September 2026 at Caesar's Palace because she needed procedures and recovery time following an earlier kidney stone issue. She's not quitting. She's working from Nashville and prioritizing being at her absolute best for her return.
That sums it up. Managing health challenges, yes. Giving up, no. Focused on coming back strong.
Okay, so before we wrap up, here's something to think about, building on all this. Dolly's known for being surprisingly candid, right? Joking about plastic surgery, being open about many things.
Yeah, she has that reputation.
But here, notice the difference. She specifically mentioned the kidney stone. That's quite a concrete detail. But the main reason for the big postponement, the Vegas shows, that was just a few procedures. Much more general.
Interesting distinction.
So the question is, what does that specific choice, sharing one relatively common ailment, but keeping the core reason for the major delay more vague, Tell us. What does it reveal about how even a seemingly open star like Dolly carefully manages the boundary between public sharing and private health information?